Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the engagement. We just had one little favor. If you have been really enjoying this, please like and subscribe. It really helps us to understand our analytics around what you guys like so that we can curate more content that's suited just for you. So thank you so much. From
Great matters with the checks.
And you know how Black South African people are. India.
Absolutely. Johnny.
India.
Johnny.
The relationship ended over text. And in starting a essay, I realized I'm blocked everywhere. 2 months later, I found out that I was pregnant. He's not at work. Then I had to call a friend to ask him to unblock me so that I can...
True.
It was so hurtful. He was like, okay, cool. We'll work around it. We'll co-parent, wada. Okay. 2 weeks later, ghost. Till this day.
Chomam,
My friend,
welcome.
thank you.
Can you see we make magic? Her initial reaction, Kanya, was like, I thought the studio was like huge,
No, for
bro.
real. Like on the screen, it looks so much bigger,
Yeah.
but it's beautiful.
Yeah, they make magic here. Yabo. Nathi nje ezi yellow bones kesi shine.
Safa.
What's with the yellow bone comments, bro?
Mtuam, thank you for sitting as Ghosty. And hi everyone, of course. We will get into intros just in a minute. Thank you for sitting as Ghosty and, supporting this particular episode. It's a very special one for ourselves, definitely. It's something that we've been waiting for a long time. Is to get into yayibona i-grey matters ne into yethu is how making complex or complicated topics around families something that's digestible, open, but ultimately authentic. And I was like, who better? Son, who better than my bestie, guys? And officially, this is the intro. This is my best friend, Lorette.
Hi.
Hi,
Busisiwe.
Bessie.
Hi.
Sibia. Mom's beer. Yes.
Come to
Eh?
Come to
Eh?
Come to te.
Oh, kaloku
Okay,
andizazi zithini izithakazelo
Oh,
zakwaSibi?
wow. Please don't go there. Look, I know a little bit, but not that much. Yeah.
Okay. And for people that are wondering, when I said Lorette, and they're like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Can you give them like a brief explanation?
My name.
It's a beautiful name, very unique.
Yeah.
And I've
I
had
do
my
actually
fair share of
get that a
banter.
lot. So my mom gave me Lorette. Actually, all of us as siblings, we all have like very unique English names. It's my sister is Treasure, I'm Lorette, and then my little brother is Genius.
Wow. Good genius.
So how my mom explained where she got Lorette from, she said that she got it from the dictionary. It has 2 meanings. So the one meaning is a laureate is like an award that a poet receives or someone in like, the creative arts, I believe. And the second meaning is it's a poem of love.
And I like how you embody
Very
both.
romantic.
I like how you embody both.
She does, actually.
Thank you.
Because you are the prize. And by the way, you look stunning,
Thank you
Sunny.
so much.
Stunning.
Enkosi.
Mntu wam,
Gorgeous.
Enkosi.
guys,
She's
umntu wam ke animboni, but
Enkosi.
you know how it is. Yeah?
It's about Lorette today.
Akamhle. I wish you guys could see her. She looks amazing.
Oh, she really does.
so-
As always.
And you look stunning, honey.
Thank you.
As always, Galok.
I wish I had the full ensemble on with, the coat and the sunglasses.
Everything.
And the
Yeah, actually, we're going to
handbag.
post it on our channel.
Yeah.
They need to see the whole thing. Because abantwana bathini, you ate. Yeah?
Clap
That's what they
it.
say. You ate.
Okay.
Isn't it weird when guys do the clock it thing? Isn't it
Is
weird?
it weird? Is it weird,
It
baby?
is weird. It is. Honestly.
Listen.
What happened to our men?
I am very secure, guys. So Mnandi o'clock, I say 80.
It's because you've got a
yonke loo nto.
10-year-old, Kaluk, that's why. So you're trying to, like, be cool. And she's like, Daddy, no, don't do that.
Guys, like there's like a new thing like every other month. I wonder what's going to be the thing when my daughter is of age.
Dude, I am constantly getting called out for being old. And I'm like, Njani, I'm not even, there's not even a 4 in my age. So how?
I think also we're in denial.
It's a big reality, I think,
We are in
for
denial.
us.
Yeah,
It's
it
cooler.
is.
And it's crazy as the 90s kids. Because we're like in between youth and, dare I say, being the elder. It's a tough one.
Wait, you're 34 this year, right? I wasn't supposed to.
Cut.
It's
Yes,
technically
but I
your
am
last
34.
year of being considered a youth.
He's
Absolutely.
30 for the 4th time. That's
As I
what
always
Avila
say.
said.
As I always say.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Okay. So, no, Manchomam, again, sincerely appreciate you being here today.
you're welcome.
I'm sure our viewers are wondering, Okuba, okay, we've got a guest in front of camera.
Yeah,
so,
I'm your first guest, so I love that. I love firsts.
And inoba indoni engaka esizawuthetha ngayo. So I'm glad you've introduced yourself so that we can sort of jump into it. Ooh. I'm getting shivers because it's like I'm saying, it's something I've been wanting to discuss with you.
Yeah.
Me and you, okay, and just to give everybody context, I've been friends with Lorette since 2011. Some of you were just dreams in your parents' minds. And okay, we have been doing this since 2011.
Yeah.
I think, what is that?
15 years now. It's a little bit over a decade.
Says it chomi, like what? Isn't there like another title for that?
We family.
Honorary family.
We family.
Sekunjalo.
We siblings.
Dude.
Gade.
And we've been through so many phases together. Like you've seen
And
You've
still
seen-
going.
so many.
Don't be fooled by all this prettiness. Siyako. Nah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And
But I love that.
You've always come out on top. That's what I love about our friendship. I'm constantly telling people that I'm very intentional about the people that I keep around me.
Yeah.
And this is not by luck or by chance that we are still going strong. It's been very intentional. We've had our fair share of back and forths over the friendship here too. And
We've had
how-
like one serious fight.
yeah.
Like
And it was
one
deep.
serious one.
It was deep.
Yeah.
But I appreciated again how we approached it because it was one of those jonga unengxaki wena nansi ingxaki yakho da. And then it was for you to be like, no, now this is your problem and you need to sort yourself out.
Yeah.
And I thought this is again one of those platforms where, in as much as singafesani, we're entering that realm of authenticity
Yeah.
and honesty. And to really now get into the topic itself. My friend, Dora the Explorer. Dora the Explorer.
Oh, wow.
Because you're appealing to so many like cultures, so many like facets of life. People genuinely enjoy your soul and your spirit, and it's
Yeah.
always
Thank
one
you.
of those things where you can fit into many spaces and occupy many roles, and today is nothing different. You're a mother of a very beautiful girl, Amira, and you've been in this journey now for
2 years now.
For 2 years now.
Actually, we can't say 2 years because the journey starts from pregnancy.
Injal.
So it's more than 2 years, almost 3 years.
And just like walk us through that. Maybe before we even get to that particular journey, the reason why I, used that quote was because you're in an interracial relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a very unique topic because, as Black people, it's one of those things. We'll say, "Jola nomlungu, wenzani nomlungu," or "Wenzani nalo, hey, wenzani." So you have, had the benefit of having relationships with other races.
Yeah.
And you can get into Amira and her father, and then sort of break down with this journey of pregnancy, like you're saying, your journey. So please feel free to go for it.
Okay, yeah, sure. So my beautiful daughter's father is Indian, and he's actually the only person I've been with or been in a relationship with that is outside of my race. I've dated men that are outside of, like, non-South African Black men. Ghanaian, Congolese, Zimbabwean, Spanish, Black Spanish.
Uvil?
So, yeah, sure, Dora the Explorer.
Yeah.
So he was actually my daughter's father is actually the first man that I've been with who was actually non-Black, or who was not Black. Brown, sure, but not Black.
Have you not dated a white guy before? Well, not like heavy relationship,
No,
but maybe
no,
in Donje.
I haven't been in a serious relationship with a white man. Sure, there've been pursuits in the past, but not a relationship.
Okay.
I'm
Noted.
so exposed.
Pursuits. Noted. Okay.
So let me take it back to why and how I got to, be open to different cultures and different experiences in relationships. So, no offense to my family, honestly, but I didn't grow up with a good example of what a healthy Black relationship looks like. Unfortunately, from Imakaya, to Joburg, for me, I've always just unfortunately witnessed marriages and relationships that are extremely unhealthy, where the men are self-serving and the woman is serving all the time, very neglectful of herself. And from a young age, like, really, I'm not being dramatic about it, but from a young age, from as little as before I was even a teenager, I knew, but this is not the dynamic that I want. So I wanted to be open, and I wanted to explore different relationships or different people, different characters from different backgrounds. And that's when I, attracted these people, I guess, because I was open to it. So my daughter's father was a colleague, or it started off, we were colleagues in the beginning, and then we became friends. I do not promote dating at work because it gets messy. But luckily for me, it didn't get messy at work because our relationship ended after, or we were no longer colleagues by the time our relationship ended. So we developed a friendship. So we were first friends for some time, right? I'd always known that, there were some feelings there, but I didn't see him in that light until he actually pursued me and we got into a relationship. It was a long journey before we got there. And then the minute feelings were mutual, we locked it in and we started dating. I wasn't too concerned about the race thing, you know, and you know how Black South African people are. India.
Absolutely. Johnny.
India.
Johnny.
Why India?
Zulu. Dia. Kanjani.
You know, so there were concerns that were raised by, you know, friends, family. But for me, I was just like, he's just umuntu, and he's a lovely human being, you know. So I was more fixated on that, and I was very open, and we got into the relationship. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how it started.
Just to probe further on that, then, like you're saying, part of your experiences when you are younger was such that the examples of Black love were not things that you wanted to pursue in your personal capacity.
Not at all.
And when the experience now came with your daughter's father, what were some of like the nuances that you saw were, if I could say, distinctly different from your relationships with Black, maybe African men, or I'm a Black Spanish. What were those things, or like those subtle nuances where you're like, okay, I could have something long term with this person?
Impatho, which is actually common in the previous relationships that I was in with Black South African or non-South African men. You know, the ones that I listed.
Edward.
What was common was impatho. I'm a lover girl, and I'm very soft, as much as sometimes I carry a little bit of a hard exterior, but I'm extremely soft. Like, I'm a girly girl. And I love so hard. And that's how I knew Vele from when I was at a young age. My heart is not built for this dynamic, you know. So I've just appreciated being treated like, man, like a queen, like ngiqanda. I love that. And I'm fortunate enough to have attracted men and to have been in relationships with men who actually prioritize that. So in my relationship with my daughter's father, bengiqanda, like for real, impatho was top tier. And that was it stood out for me. And that's what made me feel like I can actually do this. You know, those are things that I considered before we actually got into, you know, being in a relationship. Just based on the friendship and how it progressed into, okay, I'm into you and I'm courting you, because courting is a big thing for me, because then I get to experience you before sijola, right? And also, do you want to court me? You know, can you court? Uzmisele or not? Those are things that are important to me. So I picked that up throughout that period. You know, but I get treated really well here, you know? And I it's a non-negotiable for me, because I'm a giver. And like I said, the way I love is quite intense. So there has to be a balance, you know? So if you can't love me ngaleyo ndlela, then I don't want it. So yeah, that was the biggest thing that stood out for me. Was very open-minded, which was something that I appreciated, because again, you know, we're not of the same race, but he was very open-minded, non-judgmental, and yeah, impatho was great.
Okay. And then just before we step into the journey of pregnancy, how were you then received by his family? And maybe just to like preface that point, look, it's again, it may be stereotypical of myself to sit here and say Black people are viewed in a particular light by other races, but then again, I think a lot of people that will be watching this would probably agree with me, right? And there are those stereotypes that are there. Granted, you're an exception, I'm an exception. My beautiful wife there is an exception. But for the most part, how we are viewed by certain races may trickle down even to you
Yeah.
as the exception.
For sure.
So how were you then received by his family and then vice versa with your family?
Okay, let's start with his family because I met his family first. I was received well enough, honestly. Obviously, at that time, it was still, it was still new. So I was introduced, and I could tell there was a little bit of hesitance there. But because this is our son and this is the person that our son wants to be with right now, they also had to, put their best foot forward at the end of the day. I could tell, though, Uti, there was a little bit of hesitance because I am black. And what's worse is that I'm a bold black woman who's actually bold. That
Literally,
does,
yes.
shock a lot of people. It overwhelms some people, So I think the hesitation came from that as well. We would say, like, come on, you have a wide selection of Indian women with long hair, and those things are important to some races,
Absolutely.
and then I come through, and then I just don't really care for those things, you see. So there are two parts to his family. So there was his family that's based here in Joburg, and then there's family that's based in Durban, his extended family. So the reception, or how I was received by both sides, was not the same. The family, or when I met the extended family, there was a little bit more resistance. I mean, there was an aunt who didn't even acknowledge me.
This is now the family in Durban.
This is the family in Durban.
Okay.
So it happened that I think it was like a December, like Christmas type of situation, where obviously it's family time. So the family in Durban came through to visit, and I was invited, and it wasn't warm. Some tried, some didn't, But at the same time, there was an aunt in his family that also had a biracial child. Same, half Zulu, half black, half Indian, sorry.
Yeah.
So that made me comfortable.
Okay.
But still, there was like, they'd only do so much. It wasn't as warm. On my side, my dad is very easy. I unfortunately don't, or no longer have my mom. So it's just my dad. My dad is easy. I first had a conversation with him that, I've never brought anyone home, and which was very big for me because I'd never brought anyone home.
And your dad is like a hardened Zulu man. You say, was it zero?
Yeah. Hence, I hadn't introduced him to any man prior.
Jeez.
My dad was just very, is very on some, I only want to meet one man.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a man who has the intention to marry you.
Yeah.
So I had conversations with my dad. Okay, let me first say I had conversations with my partner then. You want to meet my dad? Why? Are you sure? It's a big thing. It's not as, as easy and laid back as it is for them, because they had met all the girlfriends in the past, So they were just like, oh, okay. Oh, you're not dating this one anymore. Oh, okay. Oh, you're dating this one now. Oh, okay. Hi.
Okay.
It's not the same on my side. So I had to have the conversation with him first, pause a bit, let him think about it. Then he would bring it up again. So he really, really wanted to meet my dad. I mean, he had conversations with you about it. I mean, I was like, those. Talk to Jack. Talk to Ayavuya, please, because you must understand that this is not, it's not something to be taken lightly. But he still wanted to. So once I was convinced that he understood the depth of meeting my Zulu black father, then I had the conversation with my dad. okay, Dad, I'm dating someone, it's serious. So he wants to meet you, hence it's serious. So then my dad asked me, do you think his intentions, are real? And obviously at that time I believed that they were. And he was like, okay, cool. And then I was like, wait, but he's Indian. He was like,
That's the part.
India.
That's where I want us to get into. So we are
India.
Mbega, Baba. Kunomuntu.
My dad literally paused and he was like, okay. Okay.
So you just said it ngolo hlobo.
Yeah. I was just like, no, he's not black. He's Indian. Then he was like, no, but isintu uyasazi. And I was like, well, usezosazi, yeah, man.
Right.
And then my dad posed the questions to me, like, am I comfortable? Would I be comfortable long term? And we had that conversation, and I was just, in love at that time and convinced that it was a real thing. Definitely, I wasn't young, I was 31, 32. So, yeah.
We look like babies here. Yeah?
Right? I know I look 26. It's crazy.
No, you're aging like fine wine.
I know.
Fine wine.
No. Even without the makeup, I'm just like,
When he met you, did he ask you straight, like, how old are you? Or, like, how did those conversations go?
We already established how old he is, how old I am through the friendship.
Okay.
Yeah, bo. Okay. So, but still, for him, it was like, what? Really? Serious? And I was like, yeah, right? There was an age gap between us.
Okay.
And I was also forthcoming when I had the conversation with my dad about that.
Yeah.
Uti, he is younger.
I know we spoke about that in length because you are like, buddy.
What?
Deep breath.
Hi. There were many firsts in this relationship. I had never been in not even a flirtatious, relationship with someone that was younger.
That's absolutely true.
And not to say there's anything wrong with being with someone that's younger, but it's just, I just never saw it being a fit for me. Yabo? I've always been attracted to men that are older, 3, 4, 5 years older. That's healthy for me because I feel like, emotionally, we might be on the same page. Yabo? It was always the EQ that was a worry for me. Nothing else. Yabo? But however, like I said, I was convinced and I told my dad Uti is younger. And once again, he was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I could see Uti, I'm overwhelming my father, but this is my reality. And then he again asked me, Uti, okay, so are you comfortable with that? Then he did say that, listen, age is just a number. And I didn't expect that to come from my Zulu black father. Yeah. But he was cool. He was cool about it. But what was important for him was, how am I feeling? Am I comfortable? And then he also did say, but, it's important for you to take your time. Take your time, suss the situation, suss out the relationship, and then we'll see. But let's meet the guy.
And look, considering that this was long term, because now you have passed that boundary insofar as meeting each other's families, and we are looking at something more stable, more long term. When you consider the fact that, okay, culturally, there's a difference. I don't want to say a mismatch, like there's a difference of sort.
Yeah.
And the age dynamic. How do you then look at that long term to be like, okay, class charter? Because again, we're looking at our traditional ways of viewing marriage as an example. But okay, he must be a provider. He must do this. He must do that. And at his age, he's still establishing himself, if I may call it that.
Just to be clear, there was a 5-year gap, just so that everyone is for the viewers,
so that they can get a clear
there was a
perspective
5-year
of
age
that.
gap, yeah.
And you are at a mature stage in your life. You're developing other aspects of your life that sort of don't necessarily just focus on finances. You're looking at other things that are making Oloret this holistic person.
Yeah.
Then he's still, finding his feet in certain things. He may be advanced in other things like EQ, etc. But then when it comes to the real things like imali and those types of things, then how do you like navigate in that situation, knowing that there's also these other factors between the two of you? And baby, please feel free to ask questions. I know I'm taking all the questions.
No,
but
I'm happy.
okay.
I love this side.
Okay, cool.
Listening.
Sure.
Okay, so at that time, I was still very fresh into my spiritual journey. So that was a bit tricky because his family was, part of his family was Hindu, part of his family was Christian, but somehow still practicing Hinduism when it suits them, just like black people. Sometimes we are Christians, we go to church, but then sometimes we go home,
Correct.
you understand? So,
Correct.
but he was just, on the fence. He was just like, I don't really believe in God. I do, but like, I don't really go to church, but I don't mind. And I'm
How do
very...
you navigate that? Yeah.
That was difficult.
Nah?
That was difficult because that is important for me in a partner. I had to almost lead in that department because he didn't pray, he didn't do things like that. And I pray daily, so I had to introduce him to things like that. But he was also very open, he was also very open. Like I said, I was getting into, what my spirituality looks like for me. I was still learning that side of myself. And he was very open, very supportive also. And, he would ask questions, so what do you mean, what does being a gifted person mean? Why do you wear these beads? And, he was very inquisitive and very supportive. And when I would explain, he was like, oh, okay, that does make sense,
Right.
So I felt very comfortable, but I wasn't all too happy about the fact that he didn't know Wuti and Umewup. So I had to lead that department. And then there was also again, age gap. Like you said, he was still finding himself, but was he really? Because at that time he was just going with the flow, which for me was, but you are in your late 20s. You should have an idea as to, what you stand for, what you don't stand for. Even like from a goal perspective, he wasn't clear. So those were the things that I almost had to like take a bit of a driver's seat position.
Yeah.
Again, looking long term, that okay, if we are going to be in a relationship and if we are going to get married and build a family, we do need to have some form of stability. So those are the conversations that I introduced into our relationship. Hoping that, he would, fall into, that path and establish himself and hopefully along the line lead me, because I don't want to lead a man. I don't want to lead in a relationship. I want to be led. That's important to me.
Amen.
That's very important to me. So I was not all too happy about that, the fact that I had to lead. But I did understand, Uti, like, umuntu numuntu has their own journey, and I had to give him grace.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay. Stando, on your side, what do you think so far?
Nothing, I'm just listening.
You're just listening.
Yeah. No, please continue.
Please don't rush her, because she's going to find me a very hot question.
Hey, she will.
That's gonna...
I'm holding it in.
Yeah. It's an inclusive conversation. And I also don't want it to feel like an interview, like now question this, now question that. So I like that you've set the base quite nicely and given us this beautiful context. I think there's a lot of appreciation from my side in actually having the empathy of, understanding that, to an extent, there were a lot of firsts, I suppose, from both sides.
Absolutely.
And, his inquisitive nature, I always told him when we would talk, Guti, like, I appreciate that about you.
Oh, you intimidated him so much.
Yeah, well,
That happens a lot.
Right?
Yeah, that happens a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
You intimidate a lot of people.
Why, Vid?
Because you have a big personality.
Yo,
You're confident.
You're very headstrong.
I just think, mnane, I don't have patience for wishy-wishy. You know, I don't like ndibabiza ntemtem ngesixhosa, like
Yeah,
I'm like amadoda temtem
Yeah,
that
yeah.
are just not sure
Yeah.
of where they're going and what they're
Yeah.
trying to do, because I don't think that that's our purpose as men in particular. And I don't like a man that tries to act like a man, but when it's time to be a man, then you're like, oops, So I maybe come from that perspective. But when I spoke to him, and I'll tell you this, I'd be like, okay, I could see that there are certain gaps, but there's always room for potential. And for me, that's one thing. If you can show me, there's a level of effort, there's potential. I'm a person, I'm a product of chances. People have given me many chances, and people have opened themselves up to me and allowed me to be myself, etc. And I'll tell you, naye nike chance yabo akwazi ukufunda kakuhle naye abe ngulomuntu omfunayo nawe, right? But obviously that has a limit, and that has a boundary, if you will. So I want to now tie that into how you guys went from having this relationship to then now getting into parenthood. And we'll sort of tie that into our conclusion.
Okay, so after you met my dad, he actually met my dad and my aunt, my dad's sister. She's like a mother figure to me now. So I literally got her to travel all the way from KZN, Ulundi, and Wambandla. Wafika, and we had the dinner and it went really well. He was extremely nervous, but it went well. And I think from there, it felt real. It felt very real for me, and I was elated, but at the same time, I still felt a bit, anxious about it. For reasons that I've already mentioned, Dabo.
Sure.
But okay, cool. Then it happened that I first fell pregnant, and unfortunately, I lost that one. And even just how we went or how we got through that as a couple for me was so reassuring. So he was very present, very, very, very sensitive, very supportive throughout that process. And it wasn't just my loss, it was our loss. I could feel, how I could feel his pain as well, where I didn't expect that. Yabo? So from there, I was just like, nah, we good. Like, we good. I literally let my guard down, and I was just happy and very secure in the relationship.
Because not a lot of people do actually recover from circumstances such as that.
You need a lot of support,
Yeah, and like, kudos to him, like you're saying, for being there and for stepping up in that way.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that as well. I know it's not easy to sort of talk about those things.
Oh no, we've taken years to heal. Hey,
Yeah,
I can talk about these things now. But the thing is that he was supportive, but his family stepped back completely. There was an obvious shift in the energy towards me, and that for me was very unsettling. Like, I was very confused with how,
Johnny.
especially from the mom, because I was closer to the mom, and she detached from me completely.
Was this because of the loss, or was it because of you falling pregnant?
After the loss.
Really?
Yeah, after the loss. So we hadn't disclosed to his family yet. that I was actually pregnant at that time. So the loss obviously then revealed the
What
fact that I
came?
was pregnant. Yeah. And
Nobody don't.
there was a complete detachment, like a complete detachment. It went from 100 to 0. And that was very hurtful for me. I was very confused, and I spoke to him about it, and he was like, "Nah, it's nothing, blah blah blah." But in all honesty, that's when the ship started sinking, you know. And in my head, I'm just like, okay, I can't try to figure this out because I'm still dealing with the loss. You understand? My family was extremely supportive, which was a very big contrast. My family was extremely supportive. My dad called a meeting between the three of us, myself and my now daughter's father, and he extended his, his sincerest condolences. And my dad was just like, if there's anything that you guys need as kids, I'm a parent, I've experienced these things, blah, blah, blah. If you need to reach out, you can, right? Cool. So then it took me back to, but then no one in his family, not mom, not dad, not anyone said anything to me. And again, it was mostly disappointing from the mom's side because again, we were close, but not only that, she's a woman.
Yes.
Yabo? She's a mother.
Yes.
So it was just weird for me, but okay, cool. And then I guess, like I said, the ship started sinking from there.
Yeah.
Then I started to pick up a detachment from him as well, you know. So it started with the family, then he started detaching. And for me, it was just like, you know, kwenzakalani. So a few weeks later, the relationship ended.
And at that point in time, do you know that you are with child or?
When the relationship ended?
Yes, because
no.
obviously.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So I was still dealing with my loss.
Yes.
Right? I was still dealing with my loss. And now the relationship got tricky. And yeah, look, I understand the reasons why the relationship ended, you know. Not to sound some type of way, no offense to anyone, no offense to him if he's watching this. I'm grateful that the relationship ended. At the end of the day, we were not sinking. You know, we were just not sinking. There was love, but we were not sinking.
Not compatible.
No, we were not. We were we just didn't fit. Yeah, bo?
And we talk about that a lot, eh?
Yeah.
A crucial aspect of your relationship is compatibility.
Yeah.
I think I want to tend to overlook that a lot.
And lean too hard on love.
Yes. But there has to be a sense of like practicality. But
Are we complementing each other?
In our day-to-day life?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And do we understand each other? Do we hear each other? Are we on the same page?
Absolutely.
Yeah, bo?
Yeah.
So there were issues in the relationship, you know, and everything was just happening at once, you know. And like I said, then the relationship, it dwindled, man. It dwindled, and then the relationship ended. And the relationship ended over text. Yeah. Sent me a text, a long essay. And in starting the essay, I realized I'm blocked everywhere.
So, or not in a chance about responding.
No.
So some of these things that we had then previously discussed and identified, such as the EQ, the age, now they're starting to mushroom up and expose themselves.
I can't explain how disappointed I was.
True.
You can't even just have a conversation with me. I was never against a breakup if it's not working. You understand?
Yeah.
So I couldn't make sense of how it ended. Yeah, bo? Okay, cool, fine. So we've broken up. I'm hurt. I was extremely hurt. And I was extremely emotional, not knowing Guti Kanti. There's a reason why. You know, I was extremely emotional, you know.
Yeah, I remember Those discussions we used to have.
Extremely emotional,
long
you know,
calls, yeah.
extremely emotional. And I was extremely hurt, and I was just shook, man. I was just completely shook. It felt like I was having an out of body experience, like I was watching a movie, because it was like a moment, you know. This doesn't happen in real life, not in mine at least, you know. So I felt like it was very disrespectful to the relationship itself. And I felt disregarded, you know, almost like discarded, you know, like, oh, I'm done with you. And you know, nothing made sense to me. Till this day, it doesn't make all too much sense, but at the end of the day, it happened. And only he knows what truly happened there. And I think the best advice that I got from you was when you told me to stop trying to make sense of things, of something that doesn't make sense. Just leave it. It's not going to help. Cool, I let that go. And I let that go, and then boom, 2 months later, I found out that I was pregnant.
Shucks.
So you're telling him now that you pregnant.
Please understand that how was I able to get a hold of him? Let's start there. It was so dramatic. Now I'm even more emotional because now I just found out that I'm pregnant, and I'm just like, again, and like this, you know? So how do I call him? I'm blocked. How do I text him? Like, I'm blocked. You understand? So I literally had to call work, find out if he's at work. He's not at work. Then I had to call a friend to ask him to unblock me so that I can...
True.
It was so hurtful. It was so hurtful. And I was just... It was not at all how I had planned to have my first child. You know, I have been so deliberate, and I've waited. I was 31, turning 32. I'd waited that long to have my first child. You know, I wanted it to be right, you know, and now it's happening like this. Cool. So I managed to talk to him, and when I spoke to him, yeah, cool. He was like, okay, cool. We'll work around it. We'll co-parent, wada. Okay. 2 weeks later, ghost. Till this day.
Hectic.
Yes.
Till this day. And I went through the pregnancy on my own, obviously with the support of my family and my friends. And wazalwa umntwana. I sent him an email because that's all I could think could get to him. I sent him an email letting him know that umntwana ufigile, igama lakhe, she's healthy, and reminding him that I still have not blocked you. You can still contact me. If you want to have a relationship with umntwana, I would love that for her. So you can contact me whenever you want to, should you wish to have a relationship with your child. And
that's
still nothing.
It's hectic, eh?
That's very strong of you, because I know with how he exited in your life, a lot of women they'd still harbor resentment, number one. So it'd be like, why now? Like, for instance, because also cool, like he'll get to a point where he's like, okay, I want to have a relationship with
If ever. That's if he ever does. I
hope he does, you know? And some women don't allow that, because it's just like there's so much trauma that has happened with everything. You had to be alone. That's not fair.
Absolutely.
Pregnancy is not easy.
No. Being a single mom is not easy.
It's not easy. Alone. It's not easy for two people. How much more when you're all by yourself?
I mean, even just extending on what Ukanya is saying, the added complexity of now identity issues, because you have a biracial child, you know your identity, ungumZulu, and she must now grow up in this environment where she doesn't understand why he's not there.
Yeah.
And there's always this part of her that is always going to be connected to that lineage or that heritage.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have the benefit of exploring. She can only learn that through you, and you only know so much now because you also were from an outside in perspective, you
Yeah.
know. It's horrible, man, when I think about that. And like I say this all the time whenever there's these discussions on social media about deadbeats, etc. And I'm just like, guys, stop pinpointing this to a culture, stop pinpointing this to a race.
Absolutely.
Stop, like, if the guy is like that, it is him.
Yeah.
You understand?
It's his choice, his decision.
It's not a black person thing. It's not a Mxhosa, ngumZulu, ngumToni, or whatever. And those stereotypes really need to be, you know, debunked or whatever through conversations like these, because
Yeah.
here we are having spoken about this context of how great this person was and how he portrayed and, you know, presented himself, only to just end up, you know, okay, we don't really swear on this podcast, but it's exception. Gaga yomdu. I mean, gaga yomdu. And
Yeah.
man, you know I was livid, you
Yeah.
know, from that entire interaction. And I mean, till today,
Nobody expected that, and nobody saw that coming.
yeah.
And just to answer you, Kanya, it was extremely hard for me to do that. You know, for me to actually send him that email. What I told myself I would not do is to send him a photo, or no, that I feel like that's extra, and he doesn't deserve that. So I did that outside of how I felt, because if there is a chance that my daughter can have a relationship with Ubabuake, that's all I want for her. I would not ever deliberately be in the way of that. I would never. It's not about me now. And it stopped being about me from when my daughter was born. And I don't resent him.
That's big of you, Chuma.
I don't resent him.
That's
I
big of
really
you.
don't resent him. Like it's been 3 years, you know. I've had so much time to work through this on my own and to, you know,
Heal.
make sense of it on my own. And it is not my job to make sense of anything that he does or that he did. That's his cross to carry.
Absolutely.
You know, that's a conversation he'll have with his daughter one day. Uti, why did he choose the easy way out? You know, because I just feel Uti he just bailed because it was just too much
There's
for him at that time.
Yeah.
Yabo? And that's how I let it go. I don't think he's a bad person. I just think that he was
an
a
extremely
big,
bad decision.
big coward.
Yeah.
He was a big coward. And I say this because we were deliberate about having a child. My daughter's not a mistake. We were deliberate about having a child. So, okay, so we created her. Where you now, bro? Yeah, bro. So I believe that he was just extremely scared, and he was, I say was because I would like to hope that he's grown now. I don't want to say is, but was a coward then. And whenever I do pray about this, I always ask God, can God only allow this man to come back into my daughter's life when he is ready to be a father? Because angifune in and out.
Yeah.
That will piss me off. That will upset me so much. My daughter's so happy. My daughter's happy. She's surrounded by love. She's got you guys. She's got my friends who are now my family. She's got my actual family.
Yes.
My daughter's happy. Like, umntana muhlezi ejabulile. So I can't imagine anyone disrupting that. So I don't resent him. I used to, obviously, but I no longer resent him. I'm very open to him coming in because, yes, we are dealing with two cultures. We are dealing with a part of my daughter that I can't explain, you know, and that I can't replace, you know. Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think, guys, that deliberately decide to not be in their child's lives, have that conscious in them, like sleep well at night, knowing that they've got a child out there.
I ask myself that all the time.
Do you? I mean, you wouldn't
Bruh,
know.
I wouldn't know because, like I said, and dealing abantu. You understand? You know, I don't even have one male friend who's not present in their child's life.
Yeah.
Because I'm very deliberate about who I surround myself with. I could never reason with a man that cannot take responsibility for his actions. That is why I told you what I told you. That you cannot make sense of something that does not make sense. Do you understand? You can consciously engage in sexual intercourse, but now you cannot consciously take accountability for what you've done. How does it work?
And actively
understand?
plan a child, and then you just disappear.
It was
I
that
mean, you
for me.
had umtana young,
Even younger.
much
Way
younger.
Younger.
Way
Much
younger.
23.
23 years old.
Way
and
younger.
I stood 10 toes because
Yeah.
I was never raised to walk away from accountability.
Not once.
You understand?
Not once did you have a conversation about, I don't think I can do this. Not once. For me, that was so big because we were young, you know? But yeah, to add on to what Uaya just said, out of sight, out of mind, I believe. Out of sight, out of mind. And I think that's how they are just able to just pretend as if they don't have their own flesh and blood
Guys,
somewhere.
I don't think you can be human and just switch that thing off.
And
That's
he's like
Bible.
close, you know. I'm not even dealing with someone who is in a
Another-
different province. He's
yes.
close. He's literally 35 minutes away from me. 25, 35 minutes away from me. You know, that's how long it takes to get to my house. So yeah, it's wild. So again, that's also something that I can't sit and try to figure out. You know, my only focus is making sure that my daughter is okay. My daughter turned 2 last week, and my daughter's already asking me, "Where's Daddy?" Kanjani. She's 2. And I realized now that, oh, okay, I most likely will have to have the conversation with my daughter much earlier than what I had anticipated.
And I know that it's going to be uncomfortable and it may hurt you more than it hurts her. But I would encourage you to do that as well. I mean, you know our parenting style, even with Avuyile, in as much as it's a different situation, but we explained a lot of things to her when objectively somebody else would argue that she's too young to hear those things. And I was just like, it's not for me to decide when she's too young or too this. She just needs to understand that this is where we are coming from. We are also trying to navigate the same situation just like she is, and she can always have a space to talk. And I think by you opening up that conversation in that way, whenever there's doubts in her mind, she'll know, okay, my mom is there at any given time
Absolutely.
to have this particular chat. And opening that up, I think, prepares her for adulthood in a more structured way, you know, because she is, like we're saying, gonna go through these identity issues and things. But the more umriashora, you are my child. Don't ever worry about how other people perceive you. This is how I perceive you, and this is how you need to perceive yourself.
Yeah.
She'll always be in safe hands. Guys, this topic is crazy. I wish we had more time, bro.
An hour is not
yeah,
enough.
man, it's just not enough time. And you even sent me the story, but I just feel like we won't do it justice with the amount of time that we have left.
Yeah.
But hey, we need a part 2, bro. Hey, for the part 2, Simon. Yes, sis.
I think
'Cause,
can I just wrap it up before we wrap it up?
Go for
Ne?
it. Go for it. Yeah.
What I've understood is that from my daughter being so happy, I've understood that that's all I need to do. My only responsibility is to make sure that my daughter is happy. And yes, having open conversations about our reality is a contributing factor to keeping her happy and
Absolutely.
peaceful.
Absolutely.
Yabo? And it's not about titles. It's not about titles. The most important thing is the environment. I need to make sure that the environment that my daughter's in is warm. It's loving. That's all umntana needs. And because she also does have father figures. She has father figures. She has you guys. She has her uncles. She has my dad, who's a grandfather. Like, she won't feel it. She won't feel it, but it is important for me to be honest with her, for sure. So yeah.
Hey.
There will be no part 2. I'm done with you guys.
Yacho ibaza, guys. Yacho ibaza. And I mean, buddy, I just want to commend you for the level of authenticity that you've approached this conversation with. Some of the things that we've been discussing here, I know for a fact are going to, excuse me, affect a lot of people.
Unukhala. It's a safe space, baby.
And
Unukhala.
go cry, I'm a real man. So just thank you. Thank you for just allowing us to get into your space, to ask some of the questions that we've asked, and obviously for your responses. Like, I think ultimately that's the value add. And like I'm saying, there's so many people that will be listening to this with, I think, the same notion that we have. Like, bruh, you are power, bruh.
Yeah.
Hey, you are power personified. And I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, my love.
Thank you.
Thank you for
we
having
love
me,
you
guys.
so much.
I love you guys too. Is this gonna be in the video?
It's in.
I love you guys so much. Thank you for having me. And I definitely could not have done any of this without the support that I have. Y'all have been a big support, and you know this. If it wasn't for you guys, I promise you, it's been years. And if I had had this conversation any sooner than today, perhaps I wouldn't have been ready. Yeah.
Okay.
Chomam, Sival. Grey matters.
With the Jacks.
With the Jacks.
With the Jacks. Thank you.